Languages give cultural classifications of reality. Each culture focuses on specific differences by which to label and categorize the world. This makes language like a cultural mirror, and that's what I was referring to. Once you get an insight into the words a culture uses and what words dominate and how they're used, it can give you an insight into the worldview or beliefs of those people. For example, specialized vocabulary for cultural needs. People living in the Arctic Circle are going to have very different linguistic needs than people living in a tropical rainforest or in a desert. And so you would expect to have specialized language that is associated with one's geographic environment. I know maybe like 3 or 4 words for snow. I believe that Inuit and people living in these Arctic climes have over 50 terms for the word snow. And each term is describing a minor variation in the snow. But you can see how important that would be if you lived in like the Arctic, where you don't have trees, you don't have mountains, you don't have hills. All you have is flat land, ice, and snow. Well, it might be very important to have really specific gradations like, yeah, Kumatek, when you get to the popcorn snow, that's when you need to make a right, or when you need to head west, or when you get to the snow cups, that's when you need to turn east. If you ski or involved in winter sports, you probably know more snow terms than the rest of us. But off the top of my head, I can only think of things like powder, sleet, slush, ice. But once again, if you were an Inuit or into skiing, you would probably have a whole lot more terms. The same with water, right? I love going to the ocean. I love body surfing, but I'm not a surfer. If you're a surfer, you're going to have a much more specialized vocabulary about different types of waves, different types of breaks, different types of conditions, different types of wind. And it's going to tell an outsider a lot about what your interests, your passions, where you spend your time is going to be reflected in your vocabulary. Anyone guess what topic English far outperforms any other language in? And what I'm getting at is, what do we have the most specialized terms in? Which topic of any other subject for the language English? Anyone? I know it's a weird random thing to ask, and I don't think I ever would have got it either, but it's war. And it makes sense. The English have been at war practically their whole history, and they have an incredibly sophisticated war language. Like, we don't just talk about advancing or retreating. We have tactical withdrawals, we have flanking maneuvers, we have all these different gradations. We even have things like collateral damage, friendly fire, all these really specialized wartime terms that other cultures may not have, simply because they did not need. It wasn't a part of their history or their background like it was for the English. Semantic domains. These are sets of words that belong to a specific group or category. So we have color words, we have food words, we have temperature words, we have laboratory words, we have tech words, we have sports words, and we have words that are furniture or that apply to humans or to vegetables. And so we have all these different domains in which words belong. Different cultures have different domains. And I used some examples the other class, like kinship, who you're related to. Different cultures are going to have different words for different degrees of relation. And I use that example of banana trees, armpits, and toads as being in the same semantic domain. At least for the Yanomamo Indians, those were all words that pertain to things that were dry on top and damp underneath.